Hey guys, welcome back to MuscleMentor.net. I'm Brad Hull, and this is Justin Harris. This time we're going to talk a little bit about the off season and why it's okay to kind of to be a little bit lopsided or to play to your strong suit in the off season.
Yeah, especially for amateur bodybuilders. And when I hear amateur bodybuilders, not trying to bring up body parts, but purposely trying to hold back body parts because they're too big, I think that's absolutely the worst thing you can do as an amateur builder. If you as a bodybuilder are only as good as your worst body part, none of us are going to be very good bodybuilders. I mean, the only one who's 100% complete is possibly Mr. Olympia, and even our current Mr. Olympia, people find faults with them as far as chest size and clavicle width. And so you see it a lot with people who have naturally really big legs, or maybe someone has really weak arms, but their chest and back are naturally really big, and so they'll train legs once a month, or they'll stop training back and chest and hit arms 3 times a week. And I just think that's the worst thing you can do, because as an amateur bodybuilder, one of the easiest ways to jump from complete unknown to major player and possibly even pro is to step on stage with a freaky body part that makes you stand out. And the one that comes immediately to mind is Eric Frankhauser
Yeah.
and his legs. If Eric Frankhauser
Calves.
would have, yeah,
Yeah.
if he would have shrunk his legs and calves down to the size of his upper body, he would never have turned pro. Now, what happens is and I remember talking to Steve Kukla about this because his legs were really naturally freaky. And I think someone probably told him, to hold back on leg training. And I thought, no. See, no one turns pro 100% complete looking like a Mr. Olympia. It just doesn't happen. You turn pro because you're the best bodybuilder that day. And one of the ways to be a standout bodybuilder is to come on stage with pro level body parts. Maybe not every body part is pro level, but you come on stage, and if you have a freaky body part, it lets you stand out and allows you to turn pro. Now, once you turn pro, you now have to bring up those other body parts. You should never bring down a body part, but now you have to bring up the other body parts. And an example of that would be like Branch Warren with his legs as an amateur and his legs and chest as an amateur.
Yeah.
And he had weak arms and weak back, and then he was able to bring those up and become a big pro, or a good pro. But if he would have, as an amateur, if he would have kept his legs smaller or his chest smaller to stay in line with his arms and back, I don't think he would have turned pro. And another example of someone who probably took the wrong route on that is what's his name, the kid from the mid 2000s with the freaky legs. I can't think of his name.
There's a couple of them.
He only did like two. He won like the Emerald Cup in 2006. MD picked him up as like the barely legal freak.
Oh.
And then he came back and did like the junior nationals or nationals, and his legs were way down in size.
Didn't he
Trey
disappear
Brewer,
though?
Trey Brewer, yeah,
That's him. That's yeah.
Trey Brewer does the Emerald Cup with 36-inch quads, and he's the talk of town. Looks like a freak monster. Comes up, moves to the national level, and everyone says his legs are too big, and so he comes on and he brings his legs down, and you realize that he had pro level legs but an amateur upper body,
Right.
and all he did was step on stage at a pro qualifier with an amateur upper body and now amateur legs.
Right.
You no longer look like the barely legal freak anymore.
Right.
I think that's an example of someone taking the wrong advice with that.
Yeah. Now the other thing too is if it's just that you have that body part that's freaky because you love to train it. So you see this with a lot of college lifters or just your average gym rat, where they only train their arms, or they train their arms 2 or 3 times a week, but not their legs at all. So there's a huge difference here to what we're saying.
Yeah.
It's like if you have a body part that's just genetically a standout, you want to go with it. Go with your freak part, keep training it, whatever else. But it doesn't mean you're going to do everything you can to get it even crazier. It just means you're not going to bring other things, or not bring it down for those other crappy parts. And so what you can do is train it normally, and then add in volume or add in extra days for those parts that you need to bring up. Those lagging body parts, kind of like you did the 3 or every other day legs, which for 6 weeks or whatever that was. I know that was pretty brutal. But that's it's a great way to bring up those lagging parts if you have the intestinal fortitude to actually do it.
Yeah, and so to kind of clarify what we're talking about is we're saying still you try to bring up your worst body parts. You try to bring up lagging body parts, but you never try to hold back a standout body part.
Yeah.
Keep the standout body part stand out and bring up the other body parts. Otherwise, all you're doing is bringing down your total quality as a bodybuilder.
Agreed.